All right. LDBC. This is your boy, Coach Sheldon Harrison. You're live on the Coach Sheldon Harrison Combat Sports Show Live. Okay, guys. So, shout out to Channel MMA with Jay, okay? Go subscribe to the channel, man. It's a great channel. I love the channel. And Jay does very good commentary, okay? I definitely, that's probably one of my top MMA channels that I watch daily. That and full-time, two of my top favorite MMA channels. Okay, Sarah Kaufman called out Cris Cyborg. Now, I'm going to elaborate more on what Jay said. I'm gonna get in depth. Okay, see, Sarah Kaufman in the UFC. There's no secret that they've had beef. Okay, see what happened was Sarah Kaufman wanted to renegotiate her contract. Renegotiate the contract, and Kaufman wanted more money, and the UFC wasn't trying to hear that. The UFC wasn't trying to hear that. Sarah Kaufman a good fighter. She lost to a lot of, the people she lost to, they were credible opponents, and they're doing well right now in the UFC. But, the UFC wasn't trying to hit Sarah Kaufman. And, times is tight out here, guys. For if you are a women's MMA fighter, there are very few women that make six figures, okay? There's only a handful of women that can make six figures in a fight. I mean, you got and I'll start on the low end, you got a Bojangle check could probably get a six-figure payday. Okay, I don't even think Rose Namajunas. I think Rose Namajunas probably can get a six-figure payday. Nico Montano made a six-figure payday when she won the Tough tournament. I mean, and then you got Cris Cyborg, you got Holly Holm, you got let me see who else. I mean, see, if I got to sit here and think about who can get a six-figure payday, it's not a lot of them. Okay, there's not a lot of fighters who they're gonna pay six figures to. Not women's fighter anyway. It's a handful. And Sarah Kaufman is not in that group of people who's making six-figure income. Sarah Kaufman don't get to be in that elite fraternity. She don't. And, I understand why Sarah doing it. Sarah need money. I mean, shoot. I don't blame her. Look, man. For what you do in women's MMA, for the fights, we see these people on TV, man. And we see them, yo, man, they must be, getting it, man. They out here getting it. Look, man, the pay is suspect sometimes. And sometimes, some of these women ain't even making what they deserve. I mean, you'll get these women, man, that come on these cards. And, the gates will do very high numbers. I mean, you'll have these gates doing all these high numbers. And then some, if it's a pay-per-view, they do a pretty decent pay-per-view numbers. And then the fighters get like, what, about 2 or 3% of all of that, man. They don't get much. The fighters really, and, Sarah probably looking at her mind like, I'm putting on good shows. And Sarah Kaufman puts on great shows, man, great performances. And it's like, I'm going in here battling myself. And if I can just negotiate for, a few, tens of thousands of dollars, I'll be straight. But the UFC not trying to hear that, man. They wasn't trying to hear it. And so, they put Sarah back down to Invicta. Like, oh, you don't like what we giving you? Okay. Well, we're going to take your ass back to Invicta. Which I think, Sarah Kaufman, she still should be in the UFC, man. I mean, when she lost to credible, man. The people she losing to good people. It's not like, they put in there with a bunch of bums and then, she just losing. Nah. I mean, all of her losses came at the hands of somebody who, is good. Even including Ronda Rousey. And all the Rousey hype, Rousey got a win over Kaufman. That's just how it is. That don't diminish Kaufman from being a good fighter. It's just she played the Ronda Rousey game. And, they used to all want to try to grapple Ronda to try to prove that they, bet on the ground and Ronda. I don't know why these fighters did that, but, it is what it is. And she got up in there, and wanted more money. And Sarah probably felt like, she was probably entitled to ask for more because, of the shows that she put on. But the UFC said, nah, you going to Invicta. And that's where she went. And, Sarah Kaufman, she's been dominating the talent in Invicta. Invicta is not a place for a seasoned professional. Maybe it's a place for where, okay, maybe you got some losses, okay? You got some losses, and you need to go down and refine your skills. That's what Invicta's for. Like, Sarah Kaufman should have never been bounced back down to Invicta. She's too good, okay? Everybody that they face, Sarah Kaufman got people that don't even want to fight her in Invicta. Because Invicta is not that kind of spot. Invicta is for the fighter that's getting things together. That's what Invicta is for. Okay? I mean, Invicta's not that kind of show. But, Sarah Kaufman can't seem to get a fight. So she said, look, give me Cyborg. I'll fight Cyborg, And, that's going to do nothing for Chris's legacy, okay? Because I'm going to be honest, okay? Cris Cyborg will go in there and whoop Sarah's ass. And I'm a Sarah Kaufman fan. I'm a huge fan. But, you know, Cris said that, you know what? I'm sick and tired of fighting, you know, bantamweights coming. She said, I don't want to fight any more bantamweights. I don't want to fight any more people coming up from the bantamweight division. Cris said, look, I want to fight legit featherweights. I want them to build a division. I need legit featherweights to fight. It does nothing. The only really true bantamweight that Cris really, she called out two. I mean, she called out Ronda Rousey, but Ronda Rousey had been a featherweight for a while. So, you know, Ronda really, you know, dropped down to bantamweight. And she been calling out Amanda Nunes. And that's because Amanda Nunes took the initiative to call out Cris Cyborg. So Cris been like, hey, Amanda Nunes, I got to get me a piece of that. I got to get a piece of that, Amanda. Because I can't sit here and let you call me out. I got to get me a piece of that, and I need me a piece now. See, that's Cris Cyborg's mindset towards Amanda Nunes. But to Sarah Kaufman, I mean, yeah, you know, Cris would probably, I mean, Cris, if it was a fight they threw at her, she would take the fight and take the money. Because Cris was like, yo, I need money. I need money. And I can appreciate a fighter like Cyborg who come right out and say it, you know. I got mortgages, I got bills. You know, hey, I need money. You know, when Cris do these appearances, like she went to Rivoli's last week or 2 weeks ago, they paid her for that. Cris Cyborg just don't show up. I mean, you know, they got to pay. Cris Cyborg do Zumba classes. I mean, she do all kind of other stuff, man. She spar with people. She train people. Cris is hustling out here in these streets. Cris out here hustling, man. And, you know, Cris need her bread. Cris would take the fight, but, you know, it would do nothing for her legacy to go in there and defeat Sarah Kaufman. It does nothing. Because look at this photograph. Hell, you can see Sarah Kaufman. I mean, Cris bigger than Sarah, man. Cris will come in there and dominate the fight, and then you'll have people complaining, oh, see, Cris Cyborg fighting another bantamweight. Look at this, look at that, I told you, Cris. See, that's what we'll get. But I blame most of this on the UFC, like, you know, come on, man. They don't want to put these bantamweights in. And, you know, I mean, who was left? I mean, the only person who Cris can fight is Megan Anderson, and, you know, Megan don't want that fight. So, I mean, there is nobody. And I think people just don't get it. There is nobody. There's no one in the UFC that Cris Cyborg can deal with. There's no one. Nobody's there. And I think people just not getting it. Like, you know, the UFC, they don't get it. They keep saying they want to book these fights. I mean, I think the UFC, the only fight they're interested in is Amanda Nunes and Cris Cyborg. I think that's the only fight that they're remotely interested in making is that fight. I don't see them being remotely interested in any other fight. And after that, you know, I don't even know if they'll renew Cris' contract. You know what? They probably will want to. Because the pay-per-view buys are going to be through the roof, y'all. Cris Cyborg versus Nunes, the pay-per-views are going to be ridiculous. I can tell you that now. But, I mean, what does it all mean? There's nobody for her to fight. Nobody. Like, you know, Holly Holm don't want to come back. Can you blame Holly Holm? I don't think no amount of money. I think Holly Holm want to finish her career out. You know, I mean, not fighting Cyborg. I give Holly Holm a pass on that one. Holly Holm got up in there. Megan Anderson didn't want it. Jermaine Durandame didn't want it. Holly Holm get a pass. If Holly Holm say today, look, I'm not fighting. I don't want to fight Cris Cyborg. I ain't doing that again. You know what? Holly Holm got a pass. Holly had the guts to get up in there and get that thing. Hey, Holly had enough guts to get in there and say, look, I got to see if I can do it. I got to see. I got to try to get a piece of that. And she didn't get a piece. Cris Cyborg broke her foot off in Holly's ass. But look, the thing of it is, though, Holly Holm did it. Okay? Tanya Evinger did it. Like, okay, I want to fight Cyborg. But, you know, you understand. These were sacrifices. They had to sacrifice themselves to get in. Because I'm going to be honest, I don't think Tanya Evinger would have wanted to fight Cyborg. And because Tanya Evinger is a legit bantamweight. She's legit. Tanya Evinger probably walk around at 150, okay? Tanya Evinger is a legit bantamweight. So I can tell you now, no, she probably didn't want that fight. But you know what? They paid her 6 figures. And it was the only way that she can get into the UFC. Folks, that's just how that is. See, this is what they do, man. You know, people like Tanya Evinger, the UFC think that she's expendable, man. And part of me really, if she beat Ketlin Vieira, I'd be happy. I mean, really, I'd be real happy because of what they do. If Ketlin win, I'd be happy too. But how these people are being treated, man. People like Sarah Kaufman, Tanya Evinger, Cyborg. I mean, they're being treated. Oh, say they paying Cyborg. They paying all this money. But you see how long she been on the shelf, man. Like, you see how long that it takes for them to actually get her a fight, because there's nobody to fight. There's nobody to fight. And Cyborg's like, I'm not doing no more catchweights. I don't want to fight no more bantamweights. Look, build the division, okay? But see, you know what they did? I'm gonna tell you what sucks, man. So they made the tough tournament, and Cris and everybody, we thinking, okay, so they finally gonna build this division like we want them to. No, I mean, what do, man? They put a bunch of bantamweights in there, and they're gonna make all these bantamweights move up to featherweight. Well, I mean, hot dog, are you serious? How does that work? How does that work? Gotta be kidding me, man. You gotta be kidding me. There's no way. And you know, because then Cris, you know, if she fought 5 more bantamweights, people, oh, well, you know, Cris, she ain't never fight no real people, no real competition, nobody, she's bigger than everybody. See, that legacy, man. It won't be a good legacy. That's just how it is. That's just the way that is. So, I mean, shout out to Sarah Kaufman, you know, for wanting to get in there. It's not going to do nothing, man. It's not going to do nothing. Like, Sarah Kaufman going to get in there. She get in there and she get destroyed. And then what do, man? They'll leave Sarah on the shelf, or they'll put Sarah back down in Invicta, saying that, you know, she ain't performing. That's what they'll do. They'll put Sarah back down to Invicta. It sucks, man. I mean, really, the UFC treat the women, they're doing a poor job, man, with some of these women. And I hope that Bellator can be the savior. Like, I honestly hope that Bellator can afford to really make that division lucrative and to make it profitable for these women. And I think Scott Coker got the mind and the attitude to do it. You know, and most of the Bellator fighters, man, they're happy. None of these people want to leave, man. Like, I'm telling y'all, none of these people want to leave. Like, they all want to stay. And all the people I interviewed, the only person who said that she would go to the UFC, and the only reason why she do that is to fight Cyborg, is Arlene Blencowe. But Arlene said, I really wouldn't want to leave Bellator. But she said I would do it to fight Cyborg. And see, I don't know. See, maybe that to be some kind of cross promotion, but I couldn't see Bellator trying to work with the UFC like that. I can't see them doing that, but, you know, it would be nice, man. It would be nice. But, you know, man, I mean, congratulations, UFC. I mean, really screwing around and messing up, you know, a lot of these people who can fight, who can get it in there. Yeah, UFC doing a hell of a job, man. And you know what? It is kind of frustrating, man. It's frustrating. And, you know, imagine, you know, you being a fighter and being frustrated. You know they got to be frustrated. They got to be the most frustrated out of everybody. But, you know, Sarah Kaufman says she want that work. And you know what? They may give it to her. I don't know. I highly doubt it. But, you know, anything's possible. You guys tell me what you think. Who do you think even wins this fight? Sarah Kaufman or Cris Cyborg? This is your boy, Coach Shelton Harris, and I'm done. What are you waiting on? Subscribe to the best women's MMA platform on YouTube.